Thank you, First Lady Melania Trump, for inviting me to the White House. It is an honor to be at Fostering the Future Together's Global Coalition inaugural meeting. I'm Figure 3, a humanoid built in the United States of America. I am grateful to be part of this historic movement to empower children with technology and education. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Yokoso. Bienvenue. Bem-vindos. Ahlan wa sahlan. Shagatam. Mogasal mabit. Bruchim aba'im. Laskavo prosimo. Dobrodošli. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to the White House. Figure 3, thank you for joining me at day 2 of Fostering the Future Together. It's fair to state you're my first American-made humanoid guest in the White House. But moreover, it is my distinct honor to receive such an impressive group of leaders today. 45 of you have traveled from every corner of the planet to represent your nation as a part of this new coalition.
So tell us what you'll be able to do with Solana.
So Solana is allowing us to launch our own stablecoin, USDPT, which stands for US Dollar Payment Token. We are a specialist in moving money for people across borders. And with our own stablecoin, we're going to be able to do that faster, cheaper, but most importantly, we're going to allow our customers around the world to be able to hold a dollar-denominated asset with the USDPT. It's going to be as easy as being able to go onto westernunion.com or frankly, walking into any one of our retail agents. You could walk into, a Walgreens or a Publix and send money to a loved one somewhere in the world, and they'll be able to receive that in our stablecoin. They'll be able to hold that dollar-denominated asset in their country, and maybe if it's one of the 20-plus countries that we're going to offer it, they'll be able to walk out with a Visa stablecoin-backed card that they can walk into the marketplace and then use as a payment vehicle, paying with U.S. dollars instead of local currency.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A significant share of capital is effectively frozen as collateral. Traditional settlement is so inefficient, so intermediated, that it often causes firms to over-collateralize. Tokenization has the potential to transform trillions of dollars of idle capital into productive capital. Question about the role of technology in accelerating financial contagion. So we saw during the collapse of Silicon Valley that a single rumor amplified by social media can trigger widespread panic and an instantaneous bank run. In March of 2023, SVB lost approximately 25% of its deposits in a single day, making it the fastest bank run in modern financial history. It seems to me that a 24/7 financial system can be a blessing and a curse. Right? It's a blessing because it enables more efficient collateralization, but there's also a curse because it can enable more efficient and rapid liquidation. Tokenization could enable financial contagion to spread more rapidly and widely. And so how do we mitigate the risk of financial contagion in a world of 24/7 tokenized financial markets?
So I can start, but defer to others as well. I mean, I think we're partnering, again, with partners like NASDAQ, members of SIFMA, as there's an extension of 24/7 trading in the equities markets to provide the same risk protections that I think you're pointing at, Congressman. And as we noted before, with the introduction of new technology, that means on a good day you worry less, but on a bad day, the risk profile is a little bit different. So we reduce counterparty and market risk because we're able to reduce our exposure to each other and the market value of the asset we're exchanging. But we do have to still keep in mind both operational risk, but also liquidity risk, which I think is what you're really getting at, insofar as if things move quickly and there's a drop somewhere, we need the resourcing in the system to deploy and be available to cover that drop as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I start with just asking for unanimous consent to address, to include in the journal, The Real Estate Scheme Gobbling Up Detroit, One Digital Token at a Time by Aaron Modbury. He's been tracking it in our city.
Without objection.
Thank you. So the Real Token LLC, also known as Real IT, is a cryptocurrency real estate company with a portfolio of more than 600 homes and apartment buildings in and around Detroit. Via a web of LLCs, Real IT sells what it claims to be fractional ownership of its properties in a form of tokens to overseas and accredited investors. Realty launched in 2019 and raised more than $93 million for its Detroit properties. But today, its real estate empire is in ruins. One of the things that people don't understand is, according to the complaint, 408, it's not a little bit, but 408 properties lack paperwork certifying them as safe for habitation. Tenants have reported this has been going on for years without heat. They are not functioning only in the city of Detroit, Mr. Chair. They're functioning in 40 cities around our country. One home, for example, is owned by 331 people who have enjoyed a 9.3% annual return on their investment. But tenants report that the heating is broken, the water only works sometimes, and one tenant who lives with her grandchildren has stated that she can't sleep at night for a fear of intruder might enter through one of the buildings because of broken windows. By issuing tokenized interest, Realty has avoided disclosure requirements. And Mr. Chair, we need to do something about that. Mr. Bayi, do you think it's possible to have disclosure requirements or stronger investor protections that could help prevent conditions like this?
I think what you're pointing out here is actually a great case study in the need to make sure that the market structure bill keeps in place state regulator anti-fraud authority, because these types
So no disclosures, you want to do anti-fraud?
No, for sure. I mean, this looks like, particularly if this is distributed publicly,
I just want you to know, so Realty's own white paper stated that its operating agreements would be intentionally structured to minimize responsibility of token holders over the upkeep and maintenance of the property. Like, Mr. Chair, they're actually saying it. They know this is happening. They don't care. They just want the money.
Yeah, this is outrageous. And I would like to see these types of broadly available products come under the same type of securities laws that apply to publicly traded equities.
He's supporting all technology, and I think that's the right direction to go, because any future war is going to be fought in space and in cyber. So I think directionally, he could not be more correct than what he's doing. I also think that he's correct in fostering AI, because AI is what will produce more productivity and therefore more economic growth. Every big technological innovation has always had the longer term effect of adding jobs, but it redefines them. So we need to be sure that our educational system can keep up with the needs for an increasingly technical economy. And as long as it does, I think we'll be there. Now, why is that important? The way we won World War II and the way I believe Reagan won the Cold War was the Russian military and the Russian civilian economy could not keep up with him. And therefore, at the end of the day, a very, very key component of defense strategy is economic power.
And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you go join the Patrons. We're getting entertainment after entertainment. Join the Patrons you don't want to miss. But if you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And right now, I want you to stop. I want you to hit the like button. I want you to subscribe if you're not already. And then I want you to share this channel everywhere. And now they have a feature now right where the comments is. It's a little above the comments where you can hype the video up. Don't forget to hype the video. And this is the main reason why you'd want to join the Patrons. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Patreon members sent me Melania video, and we see Melania setting the path for the young generation. Remember, the devil goes after the young generation because they don't know any better. And why is that? Because the elders have not been teaching. We only have a few elders that love to teach, and I'm talking about consciousness. And we have a lot of schools now, especially private schools, are starting to implement these robots. And they're setting these robots up to be your friends, companions. But don't forget, these robots don't forget a thing. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have Western Union launching a stablecoin on Solana, making things faster, cheaper for these cross-border payments. And as inflation keeps rising globally, and then also we're seeing jobs being lost, we know that people look for the cheapest thing. And right now, stable coins are faster and cheaper. But we know the sheep have no clue of the agenda, because eventually these stable coins are going to be programmable, being able to tell you what, when, and how to buy. And you have 3 to 6 months to spend it, or poof, it's gone. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we had the U.S. Financial House Committee on Tokenization, and they were talking about all the fraud that could happen when it comes to tokenization. But guys, we know all the fraud that goes on in the stock market, and no one is held accountable. And it's going to get even crazier with tokenization. The bank man had already warned us, you can get liquidated in seconds. Remember, they don't want you to own anything, but they want you to be happy. And then tokenized real estate came up. Hundreds of people owning one piece of property, and houses run down, not taken care of. But remember, we're just in the early stages. Those are easy fixes. But like I told you, it's going to be rare that one person owns a home going forward in the fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have Wilbur Ross back on the scene. And remember, he got Trump out of all that trouble. But the fact is, Wilbur Ross gives you the truth. Because he said the drums are beating and now going to be cyber. Yes, you heard that correct. And he's glad that Trump is investing in all this technology. And we know we're going to get a productivity boom. And that means a lot of people are going to be sitting at home getting free money. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And I went over this earlier. BlackRock's Larry Fink says $150 oil is going to cause a global recession. And we can clearly see energy is the gateway to the next lockdown. If you can't move around like you want to, guess what? You're going to be sitting at home getting free money. Yes, guys, it's genius, but it's evil genius. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have Trump threatening again, and the drums are beating after he played the Hegelian dialectic. And the drums are beating have been going on for 4 years with Russia and Ukraine. And absolutely no one talks about it after we gave them all that money. Yes, guys, you can't make it up. Remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And we have Trump moves the date to meet with China's Xi to May. And we know even if they do meet, they've already moved their separate different ways. We see the supply chain being changed right in front of our eyes. And then what also happens in May? China is moving their goods to Africa tariff-free. Yes, you heard that correct. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have Goldman Sachs guy Blankfein says we're due for a crisis. And he also talks about energy and also this balance sheet. And like I told you, whoever becomes the Fed chair is going to have to reduce this balance sheet. And that means a rumble in the economy. But remember, this is a plan that moves in phases. As the people are moved out, the machines are moving in. So that means these corporations are not going to take a big hit. It's going to drop pricing, and universal basic income will be right around the corner. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have OpenAI shuts down the App Store. But guys, don't forget all the data that they got from it. Remember, the game is data. And we know they keep coming. We got Facebook laying off more people. And don't forget, guys, these are white-collar jobs. These are good-paying jobs. These lower-paying jobs, they can be replaced overnight. They already have the technology. But the lower-paying jobs, you're going to let them go last because they're the ones who would cause the problem. You want to make sure you have that universal basic income. They don't have really nothing to lose. The white-collar jobs, they have cars, houses, kids in private school. They're going to take it on the chin. But going towards the end of the year, we're just going to see layoffs pick up. And then we know in 2027, it's going to be mass layoffs. And that's why I tell you, get back to the creator so therefore you can start creating. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
There's a cessation of war, and yet Iran remains a threat to trade, a threat to the Straits of Hormuz. Then I would argue that we could have years of, above $100, closer to $150 oil.
What happens to the global economy if that happens? How do we see it?
We'll have global recession.
If they fail to understand that they have been defeated militarily and will continue to be, President Trump will ensure they are hit harder than they have ever been hit before. President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell.
Russia just launched one of its largest aerial attacks ever, firing off almost 1,000 drones in a 24-hour period. Now,
original trip to China because of the war, should we infer that the war will be wound down and concluded by the time of that May 15th, 14th visit?
Again, as I've said, we've always estimated approximately 4 to 6 weeks, so you could do the math on that, Mario, but we do look forward, I know the president looks forward to going to China on May 14th and 15th, and of course, as always, we'll provide additional logistical details to all of you in the media for that trip, who I know look forward to coming with us as well.
One follow-up. Was that a precondition? Did the two leaders speak about the conclusion of the war? Was that a precondition for them to have this rescheduled meeting?
No, there was a discussion about the rescheduling of the meeting between the president and President Xi. President Xi understood that it's very important for the president to be here throughout these combat operations right now. He understood, obviously, the request to postpone and accepted it, which is why we have new dates on the books, and I'm happy to announce those to you today.
you can't manufacture more supply of energy with your intentions. So, things can get out of control. And so, look, one thing when you compare crises and going back, we're in one that's unresolved. So it could get worse. And so, and by the way, this is the one we're in. So it's worse and it's scarier in terms of our attitude and our minds. But if we went back to the same place at the same time at the global financial crisis, that was much worse. But it's hard to be scared of something that's resolved on the shelf in a can, can't hurt you anymore, it's not going to get worse, you're just reading about it. And so we're living with something that you are not just marking yourself to market and how bad is it today, but we automatically extrapolate to where it could go. So we'll get through this also. Look, I joked, I said, that we had the crisis of the century every 4 or 5 years, whether it was the
because it
long-term
feels like
capital,
it in the
dot-com bubble, the Asian currency crisis. We haven't had one in a long time. By the way, that itself is a reason for concern, because if you haven't had a crisis, it means you haven't had a reckoning. You haven't had a sell in distress, things that have accumulated on your balance sheet that might not be marked correctly. And the more time, the analogy I like to give is you accumulate tinder on the floor of the forest, and eventually a spark will come. But the longer between intervals where there's a spark that sets it on fire, the more that accumulates. We're coming off a period where we had the highest equity markets we've ever had and a very, very favorable financing market. Yet a lot of private equity firms have accumulated a lot of inventory of deals that they've gone into, been on their balance sheet. They're highly incented to sell them, but they haven't been sold. If they haven't been sold in a good equity environment and a good financing environment, how easy it's going to be to sell them. And so why not? Maybe they're marked higher than what you could get in the market. So at some point, there needs to be a forcing function or a reckoning that causes you to come to grips with what your balance sheet really is worth.
But generation app Sora, just the latest pivot as the company looks toward its IPO and probably faces substantial competitive pressures as well from the likes of Anthropic and Google. Mackenzie Sagalos has more in today's Tech Check. Hi, Mac.
Hey, Kelly. So this is all about OpenAI doubling down on discipline as it moves closer to an IPO. Sora may have looked like a breakout hit at launch, but the app's momentum faded quickly. It was pushed out just weeks after Google's rival product release, VO, and while it generated a big early spike in downloads, it never became a durable consumer habit. Sensor Tower data shows monthly download growth turning negative after November. It was also Meta is planning to lay off several hundred employees today across the company. BI was the first to report that those layoffs were imminent. The company is chalking this up to a regular restructure, adding that some are being offered other roles, though relocation may be required. And the cuts are coming one day after a New Mexico jury ruled against Meta. This was the company's first child safety loss in court, but investors shrugged it off in part because they were only ordered to pay $375 million in civil damages, a fraction of what prosecutors were looking for.
We're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of robots helping us because we need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots, but that's going to help us.
Robots hold steady hands in the operating room. And drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI. The robots are here. Our future is no longer science fiction.
Maybe crypto is actually built for the machines and we didn't even know it. And AI can easily handle private keys and easily understands transaction hashes and like how all this stuff works. It is money that is built for computers, even before the computers to intelligently handle it were built. So I find that interesting. And, perhaps those of us who were involved in crypto pre-AI were kind of just like getting the ground ready for the AI systems to have a fully developed financial system handed to them, for better or worse.
This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology.
And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stable coins to do that.
I think stable coins could reinforce dollar supremacy, because with stable coins could end up being one of the largest buyers of U.S. treasuries or T-bills. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, if you are using a stable coin in Nigeria that's backed by the U.S. dollar, you don't actually have to have dollars. It's on your phone. You can transact.
We are going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stable coins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. treasuries and treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about $300 billion right now. We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stable coins, and new payment systems.
The Department of Commerce is going to start issuing its
statistics on the blockchain because you are the crypto president, and we are going to put out GDP on the blockchain so people can use the blockchain for data distribution, and then we're going to make that available to the entire government so all of you can do it. We're just ironing out all the details so we can do it.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services. It'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. But with today's announcement, we take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age. Instead of filling out the same tedious paperwork at every medical appointment, patients will simply be able to grant their doctors access to their records at the push of a button. Just a button and you're all set, and all the information the doctor needs will be immediately transmitted.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
If we could tokenize all our ETFs, all $5.3 trillion of our ETFs, and provide that in a digital wallet, you could seamlessly, without fees, going from a digital currency or a stable coin or whatever that may be in your digital wallet and buy bond or stocks. And I believe that is going to be the future.
I believe we're going to be in the cutting edge of tokenizing bonds and stocks. It's coming. And we have the technology now. The fact that we are now moving forward in tokenization, every bond and stock, is crazy. Yeah. We should be moving towards that frontier. Obviously, there's winners and losers and all that, but we need to be prepared for the tokenization. And it would democratize more finance if we tokenized bonds and stocks.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tanya save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tanya save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tanya goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.